Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I decided to do kind of like my everyday go-to makeup. I don't always do this eyeshadow look, but for the face, pretty much everything is the same. If I don't know what kind of eyeshadow I want to do, if I don't know what kind of look to go for, if I want something quick and easy, or if I just don't feel like being creative and I just want something simple and something quick, then I will do this look. But yeah, these are like my go-to products. I've been loving these for summer. So if you guys want to see how I got this look, and if you guys want to see what my everyday kind of summer makeup routine has been, then just keep watching. Okay, so I already did my brows off camera. I used Anastasia Beverly Hills Chocolate Brow Powder. Then I just carved them out with regular concealer. So for primer, I'm going to use the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. I really like this just to put like around my T-zone area where I feel like I have the most pores. It does a really good job of filling everything in. If you're somebody like me and you have really oily skin, I would definitely put some kind of mattifying primer either over or under it. So like I said, I am oily, so I'm going to go over that with the Benefit Professional Matte Rescue Primer. This one is supposed to fill in your pores. I definitely don't see that. The only reason I use it is to put in my T-zone to keep me matte throughout the daytime. So since my face is primed, my lids are also primed, I just put concealer over them. So I am going to take my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I am giving one of these away. I'm having a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so if you guys want to enter that, then go look at my previous video. But I'm going to take the color Tempora, which is like the white shade in the palette, and I'm just going to set down the concealer. I always do this to make sure that I have a really smooth base for when I apply my eyeshadow, so nothing gets sticky or anything like that. Since this is more of like a quick eyeshadow tutorial that I usually go for when I don't have time and I don't know what to do, it's only going to consist of probably about 3 or 4 eyeshadows. So the first one that I like to take in my crease is Reglar, which is this purple, which is this orange shadow at the very end. I just take this on a Morphe E22 and I'm going to start to build this into my crease as my transition color. So I'm just going to put this into my crease really softly. I know it looks crazy when you first put it in there since it is just like a straight up orange eyeshadow going into your crease, but once you blend it out, it doesn't look as crazy. I'm just going to go back and forth with this until everything is blended out smoothly. I think I put a little bit too much on my brush, but that's okay. I can blend everything out. Okay, so for the next color, I'm going to take the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. I'm going to go in with the color He Devil, and I'm going to put this on a Morphe R39. I'm just going to keep this a little bit lower in my crease, and this is going to be the only other eyeshadow I use besides that orange one that I first put in. So I'm going to start kind of towards like the outer corner of my eye. I always like to do this shape of eyeshadow because I feel like it suits my eye shape the best. So I always just take my darkest eyeshadow in the corner of my eye, and then I start to bring it in my crease a little bit lower than what I placed my transition color at. And I just go back and forth, and I'm going to blend everything out until there are no harsh edges. So next, I'm going to take this MAC pigment. This is in the color Tan. I'm just going to put this on a little Urban Decay brush. This is from the original Naked palette, I think. I'm going to dip my brush in there, and then I'm going to wet it like I always do. So I dip my brush into the pigment, I wet it a little bit, then I'm just going to go ahead and put it all over my eyelid. It's a really pretty bronze color. It's kind of light. It's almost like a champagne, which you wouldn't think by looking at it in the bottle. It looks a lot darker in the bottle than it does on your eyes, but it's just a super pretty shimmery pigment that they have. It's like one of their most iconic shades that they have as far as their pigments go. I picked it up the other day when I went to the mall for the Nordstrom sale. They have a MAC inside of my Nordstrom's, and I saw this pigment, and it was one of the last ones, and the girl told me that it's like their most popular pigment that they have, and it's just such a pretty like shimmery bronzy shade. I love wearing it for the summer, whether it's daytime or nighttime. It's just such a pretty color. So I'm just going to go ahead and pack that on a little bit more. Since it is a pigment, I'm just going to keep like dipping into it and wetting it and packing it onto my eyelid, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye, and I'll be right back to finish everything else. Okay, so before I move on to eyeliner and the rest of my eye makeup, I'm going to finish my face first. So what I'm going to use is a Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is in the color Sand, and I'm just going to apply this with a big fat Morphe brush. It's actually really funny to me that I actually like this foundation because I always tell you guys how oily my skin is and how I have to use like mattifying products, but this foundation I feel like is for people with dry skin, if anything, because it has like coconut water in it and it's like hydrating, but I feel like it looks so natural and like so pretty on the skin. I find that if I set it down with the powder, it does just as good of a job as staying matte throughout the day than any other foundation that I would use. I don't really have any problems with it becoming like oily or greasy or anything like that. It just looks so pretty on the skin and so natural. I used to use this a lot, maybe like a year ago. And then I ran out of it and I tried other foundations, and it somehow just kind of got lost like throughout my collection, but I saw it at Ulta the other day and they were having a sale for anybody with like the Platinum Rewards card. So I decided to pick one up and I fell in love with it again. It's just so pretty. I barely have to use any of it and it gives me like the most full coverage, natural looking foundation ever. It looks so beautiful. It really does look like your own skin. So next I'm going to use a Born This Way concealer. This is in the color medium nude. This is one of my favorite concealers of all time. It is super hydrating, which I feel like is really great for underneath the eyes. I feel like any type of concealer that's like on the drying side can look really cakey underneath your eyes. I feel like it just settles into the fine lines better, so I like to use a little bit more of like a hydrating concealer if I can. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have noticed if you guys watch any of my videos, whenever I do my eyeshadow, I kind of like to do it in like a cat eye shape. I always do a wing, but I always like to keep the shape kind of like triangular, if that makes any sense. So what I do whenever I do my eyeshadow first is I get my concealer and I just kind of use it to like clean up the side of my eyeshadow. I'll pull it up towards like my temple, up to my forehead. I'll just kind of pull the concealer and kind of clean up the shape of my eyeshadow while I do that. So to set my under eyes, I always bake like underneath my eyes, the side of my nose, right here around my mouth, and the center of my forehead, because that is where I get the most oily. So for that, I always use the Laura Mercier powder. My skin is more on like the medium to tan side, and I absolutely hate anything that gives me a white cast. I feel like it is so hard to find powders that don't leave that behind, and I don't want to go back in with a flesh colored powder after. I mean, I know it's not that big of a deal. I feel like it just kind of adds a layer of like makeup on my skin that I don't want. So the Laura Mercier for me is like one of the best powders. I love that it doesn't leave me a white cast. It sets my makeup really well. It's super lightweight. It doesn't leave me cakey or anything like that. Another powder that I really like is the Coty Airspun, but like I said, that one also leaves me a white cast. So if you're looking for something drugstore, I would try the Coty Airspun, but if you want something that is not going to leave you a white cast, it's not going to give you flashback, I would 100% go for the Laura Mercier. It's just my favorite powder of all time. I know it's expensive, but I love it. I can't get enough of it. Okay, so typically if I'm going out and I want my makeup to last all night, or I want something a little bit more dramatic, I will contour with cream contour. I'll use these Wet n Wild contour sticks. I usually use this one. This is Call Me Maple 805. What I'll do is I will put this on my face, blend it out with a stippling brush, and then set it with my bronzer, and I feel like it makes my makeup last a little bit longer throughout the night. Since this is more of like a go-to, easy, quicker, more natural type of makeup look, which I mean, it's not natural in any way, it's just something a little bit quicker, I'm gonna skip the cream contour and the cream highlight. I'm just gonna go straight in with my bronzer. I always use MAC Give Me Sun. I've been using this for like 2 years now. Ever since I found it, I have not put it down. It's the prettiest bronzer ever. I take this on a Morphe M110 and I just put this like on my cheekbones and around the perimeter of my face, so like my forehead and my jawline. It's like the perfect mix of like a golden bronze, just beautiful bronzer. Like, it's just one of the most prettiest bronzers I've ever used, and I love it against my skin tone. So I'm gonna put that on my cheekbones, my forehead, and a little bit around my jawline. Okay, so now that my face is like crazy bronze, I'm gonna take my Wet n Wild Color Icon blush. This is in the color Pearlescent Pink. It's just a really pretty blush. It's super natural. I'm more of like a bronzer type girl. I don't really like blush that much. But I do need it a little bit just to give my face like a little bit of color. So I'll just dab my brush into it and just kind of like pat it on my cheekbones a little bit just to give myself some color so I don't look completely dead. For highlight, I'm obviously going to take my favorite highlight of all time. This is the Laura Geller Gilded Honey highlight. I'm going to put it on this Target brush. This is like a Sonia Kashuk brush. It was like one of their Christmas collections. And I'm going to wet my brush with some NYX setting spray. I'm just going to put this on top of my cheekbones like I always do. I'm not going to go crazy with highlighter. Like I said, if I were going out or this were something like a little bit more dramatic and I wanted my makeup to be more intense or to last longer, I would start off with like highlighting drops. So I really like the CoverFX highlighting drops. If I were going out, I would start off with those and then put this powder on top. But like I said, since this is something a little bit more simple and not as dramatic, I'm just going to go in with the powder itself. Okay, so if you watch my channel, you obviously know that I use the same freaking eyeliner every time I do my eyeliner. This is a NYX matte liquid liner. I'm gonna do my wing off camera really quick. Okay, so eyeliner is done. I feel like every time I do my eyeliner, the wing is like a different shape. So I'm gonna go do my mascara off camera as well. And I just realized that I got freaking eyeliner on my eyelid. Can you guys see that? But I'm gonna go do my mascara off camera because that's also something that's like difficult to do on camera. But I'm gonna go do that. I'm just gonna add lashes while I do that as well. I'm gonna use my Ardell number 600 lashes, and then I'll be back to do the lip and finish the rest of my face. So for my lips, I'm gonna use my favorite lipstick of all time. This is a NYX Liquid Lingerie lipstick in the color Ruffle Trim. Okay, so that is it, you guys. I just want to address one little thing too. I had a couple people asking me in my last video if my septum was real because they see it like in and out all the time. It is. When you guys see it in, it's because I either don't want to get makeup on it or because I put in like my nose hoop, because I also have a nose piercing right now. I have a set in, but if I'm going to put in like my hoop, I will tuck my septum in, and all I have to do is grab it and flip it upward into my nose, and you guys can't see it at all. So for everybody asking if it was real, it is real. It's not fake or anything. I mean, like, I can pull on it. It's not fake. But yeah, that's it for today's video. This was just kind of like my go-to summer look that I've been doing. So I hope you guys liked it. If you have any comments, leave them down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.